Stop for a second and think about what's in your fridge right now. Because what if 6 everyday foods some you think are healthy are actually fueling your arthritis pain, keeping your joints stiff, swollen, and aching? Most people have no idea. They're trying so hard to eat right. They cut back on sugar. They choose whole grain bread. They even switch to healthier oils. But here's the ugly truth no one tells you. Certain common foods act like matches on gasoline, lighting up your body's inflammation and wrecking your joints from the inside out. And it's not just pain today. This chronic inflammation can damage cartilage over time, making arthritis worse, even irreversible. Now here's what's really sneaky. Some of the worst offenders are marketed as healthy. Your doctor might not even mention them. Your favorite recipes might be packed with them. But by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what they are and how to swap them out without sacrificing flavor. Because number 6 on the list, you're almost guaranteed to have it in your fridge right now. And once you see why it's so harmful for arthritis sufferers, you'll never look at it the same way again. So if you're tired of limping out of bed in the morning, if you want to reduce those flares, move more freely, and feel like yourself again, stay right here. Don't skip ahead. Because every single item on this list matters. Miss even one, and you might keep sabotaging your own progress. Let's dive in and reveal the real enemies hiding in your fridge and show you how to reclaim your joints, your comfort, and your freedom, one meal at a time. Ready? Let's get started. What you eat isn't just calories. It's a message to your body that says either heal or inflame. And for arthritis sufferers, that's everything. Certain foods trigger your immune system to go into overdrive, attacking your own joints and causing swelling, stiffness, and relentless pain, even if you're on meds. That's the big myth. I take meds, so diet doesn't matter. Wrong meds might dull the symptoms, but if you're feeding inflammation at every meal, you're fighting a losing battle. And here's the kicker. Many of the worst offenders are everyday staples in your fridge or pantry, looking perfectly innocent while they fuel the fire inside you. So what are these silent saboteurs? Stay tuned, because in the next section, we're exposing the 6 foods quietly wrecking your joints, starting with one you probably eat every single day without suspecting the damage it does. Number 1. Processed meats. Let's talk about one of the sneakiest joint destroyers in your fridge right now. Processed meats. Think bacon, hot dogs, sausages, those easy, flavorful staples we've all loved for years. But here's the harsh truth. They're loaded with advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, and that name isn't just science jargon. These compounds literally accelerate the aging of your tissues from the inside out. When you eat them, they trigger chronic inflammation, sending your immune system into overdrive and making your joints stiff, swollen, and painful. Now, meet Harold, a retired firefighter from Ohio for years. He didn't think twice about his morning ritual. Eggs and a few slices of crispy bacon, he figured it was harmless. After all, he needed the protein, right? But his arthritis kept getting worse. His hands felt like rusty hinges in the morning, and just gripping a coffee mug was agony. His doctor recommended more meds, but nothing really changed. Then Harold read about a jazz in processed meat, skeptical but desperate. He decided to swap the bacon for grilled turkey slices and even tried fish a couple of times a week. Within a month, he noticed something amazing. His hands felt looser. The morning ache was cut in half, and he could actually button his shirt without wincing. Harold's story isn't unique. Processed meats aren't just salty or fatty. They're inflammation bombs. Even those lean-looking deli slices are often loaded with preservatives and sodium that make your immune system react like there's a threat to fight. And guess what? The battleground ends up being your own joints. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up delicious, satisfying protein. Lean poultry, omega-3 rich fish like salmon or sardines, and even hearty plant-based proteins like beans or lentils are fantastic inflammation-friendly alternatives. So before you toss those hot dogs on the grill or sizzle that bacon tomorrow morning, ask yourself, is that moment of flavor worth another day of stiff, swollen joints? Or are you ready to make a simple swap that can soothe your body from the inside out? Number 2. Refined carbs and white bread. Let's move on to one of the most deceptive troublemakers in your kitchen: refined carbs. Think white bread, bagels, pastries, crackers, the soft, fluffy comfort foods we've all been told are part of a balanced meal. But here's the uncomfortable truth. These foods are like jet fuel for inflammation. When you eat refined carbs, your body digests them at lightning speed. Blood sugar spikes, insulin surges, and that triggers a cascade of inflammatory responses. Your immune system goes on high alert, pumping out chemicals that don't just circulate, they target your joints, making them ache, swell, and stiffen up over time. But here's the part most people miss. Refined carbs are stripped of their natural fiber. That fiber isn't just for digestion. It actually slows sugar absorption, keeping your blood sugar steady and your inflammation levels low. Without it, your body's left on a blood sugar roller coaster that feeds inflammation meal after meal. Let me tell you about Maria, a retired teacher from Florida. She used to swear by her morning toast and jam. It was quick, easy, and felt comforting. But by mid-morning, her knees were throbbing, and she felt drained. She thought it was just aging. But when her daughter suggested switching to whole grain toast with almond butter, Maria was skeptical. Still, she tried it. Within weeks, she noticed fewer flare-ups, more stable energy, and she even cut back on her pain meds. That's the power of whole grains like quinoa, barley, and true whole wheat bread. They're rich in fiber, vitamins, and anti-inflammatory compounds that nourish your body instead of attacking it. These swaps aren't about giving up pleasure. They're about gaining freedom from chronic pain. So before you reach for that fluffy white roll or sugar-laced pastry, ask yourself, is this bite worth another day of stiff knees and swollen fingers? Or can you choose a smarter, more satisfying alternative that fights for your joints instead of against them? Hash 3. Sugary drinks and sodas. Let's talk about one of the sneakiest inflammation triggers most people don't even think twice about: sugary drinks and sodas. They look so harmless, right? Just a quick refreshment, a treat on a hot day. But the truth is, these drinks are like delivering pure sugar straight into your bloodstream at warp speed. When you sip that cola or sweetened iced tea, your body doesn't have to work to break it down. There's no fiber to slow absorption. The sugar hits your bloodstream instantly, causing a massive blood sugar spike. That spike triggers your body to release cytokines, pro-inflammatory chemicals that act like tiny alarm bells for your immune system. Suddenly, your body is on red alert, pumping out inflammation that settles right in your joints. And if you think diet versions are safe, think again. Artificial sweeteners have been shown to disrupt gut health and may even increase inflammatory responses over time. Take George, for example. He's 68, from Texas, and used to have 2 cans of soda every afternoon like clockwork. He didn't think much of it. After all, he wasn't eating cake or candy. But his knees were so swollen some mornings, he could barely make it down his porch steps. His doctor suggested cutting sugary drinks altogether. George replaced them with ice-cold herbal teas and fruit-infused water. A month later, he could walk the dog again without stopping to rest every block. Here's the thing. Hydration matters, but how you hydrate matters even more. Sugary drinks don't quench your thirst. They feed inflammation. If you want to protect your joints, switch them out for herbal teas rich in antioxidants or water with fresh lemon, mint, or berries. These simple swaps don't just hydrate you. They help calm inflammation from the inside out. So next time you reach for that soda can, ask yourself, is this sip worth another day of pain? Or can you choose a drink that truly supports your health and freedom of movement? Number 4. Fried foods. Here's one that's hard to hear, but impossible to ignore. Fried foods. Think golden French fries, crispy fried chicken, onion rings, those mouth-watering comfort foods that seem so innocent on the surface. But beneath that delicious crunch, a recipe for chronic joint pain. Here's why. Fried foods are typically cooked in oils loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 South aren't inherently evil, we actually need them in small amounts. The problem? Our modern diets are overflowing with them, creating a lopsided ratio that fuels systemic inflammation. When you combine that with trans fats often lurking in fried restaurant foods, you're delivering a 1-2 punch straight to your joints. Picture this. Every time you take a bite of that perfectly crisp fry, you're signaling your body to turn up the inflammatory response. The result? Swollen, achy joints that feel worse with each passing meal. Let me tell you about Clara, a retired nurse from Michigan. She loved her weekly treat, fried fish from the local diner. It was her ritual. But her arthritis kept flaring up. Her hands were so stiff in the mornings, she could barely button her shirt. A rheumatologist suggested an experiment. Swap the deep-fried fish for a baked version drizzled with olive oil and herbs. Clara was skeptical, but she tried it. A month later, she wasn't pain-free, but she had significantly less morning stiffness. Enough to make breakfast for her grandkids without wincing in pain. The good news: you don't have to give up your favorite flavors. Air fryers work wonders, giving you that crispy texture with a fraction of the oil. Baking with heart-healthy olive oil, rich in anti-inflammatory compounds, is another simple, delicious swap. So the next time you're tempted by that greasy takeout bag, pause and ask, is that crunch worth another day of pain? Or is it time to discover how satisfying it can be to indulge your cravings without sacrificing your joints? 5. Dairy. Let's get real about one of the most controversial foods on this list: dairy. For many seniors, that morning splash of cream in coffee, the melted cheese on a sandwich, or the scoop of ice cream after dinner feels like simple, innocent pleasure. But here's the thing they don't tell you. For people who are sensitive, dairy can be a powerful inflammation trigger hiding in plain sight. The culprit? Casein, the primary protein in milk. In sensitive people, casein can act like an alarm bell for the immune system. Instead of recognizing it as food, your body treats it like an invader, ramping up the inflammatory response. The result: stiff, swollen joints, increased arthritis flare-ups, and mornings that start with pain instead of ease. But it's not just theoretical. Meet Helen from Arizona. She's 72, a retired librarian who prided herself on eating healthy. But her knees were constantly swollen, and her fingers ached so badly she had to give up knitting. She had no idea dairy could be the issue. It was in her yogurt, cheese, even her soups. On her granddaughter's advice, Helen tried cutting dairy for just 3 weeks and replaced it with almond milk and plant-based spreads. The result: less swelling, more flexibility. She even picked up her knitting needles again. But here's the catch: not everyone will react this way. That's what makes dairy so tricky. Some people tolerate it fine. Others suffer silently, chalking it up to just getting older, without realizing their diet is making things worse. The good news: alternatives have never been easier. Creamy almond milk in coffee, oat milk for smoothies, delicious plant-based cheeses that melt and satisfy. These swaps don't just reduce potential inflammation. They open the door to experimenting with fresh, anti-inflammatory flavors. So next time you open that fridge and see the milk carton, ask yourself, is this comfort worth the daily pain? Or is it time to try a swap that could help you move better, sleep better, live better? Number 6. Certain vegetable oils. Let's finish strong with one of the most surprising and sneaky culprits, hiding in nearly every kitchen: vegetable oils. Sounds healthy, right? I mean, it has vegetable in the name. But don't let that fool you. Oils like corn, soybean, and sunflower are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids, and that's a major problem if you care about your joints. Here's the science in plain English. Your body needs omega-6 and omega-3 fats in balance. They're like yin and yang. But modern diets are drowning in omega-6, thanks to these cheap industrial oils. When you have too much omega-6 and too little omega-3, your body flips a switch toward chronic inflammation. And guess where that shows up? Your joints. Stiffness, swelling, aching that won't quit. But don't just take my word for it. Meet Frank, a retired construction worker in North Carolina. Frank cooked everything in vegetable oil, fried eggs, stir-fry, even his grilled cheese. He thought he was doing fine until his hands started locking up so badly he couldn't hold his fishing rod. A nutritionist suggested swapping his corn oil for extra virgin olive oil and using avocado oil for high-heat cooking. Frank grumbled at first, but within a few weeks, he noticed something. His grip strength improved. His morning stiffness was cut in half. He even went back to his favorite fishing hole. And here's the kicker. Olive oil and avocado oil aren't just neutral. They're anti-inflammatory powerhouses. Rich in monounsaturated fats and antioxidants, they don't just avoid the inflammation problem. They actively help calm it down. So ask yourself, what oil is sitting in your pantry right now? Is it quietly fueling the pain in your knees or hands? Or could you make a simple switch that helps soothe your body from the inside out? The truth is, you don't have to sacrifice flavor to fight inflammation. You just have to make smarter choices. So next time you're cooking up dinner, remember, every drizzle of oil is a choice. Will you choose the one that fights for your joints or against them? Conclusion. So now you know the truth. Some of the most common foods in your fridge and pantry could be silently fueling your joint pain every single day. But you also learned what to swap, how to fight inflammation naturally, and how to take back control one meal at a time. Which of these foods surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone. And if this helped you or someone you love, hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe for weekly tips on how to manage arthritis naturally, move better, and live pain-free without relying on pills alone. Your plate can be your painkiller. Let's start today.